Hello. Welcome everyone to another episode of Hitless Podcast. I hope everyone is having a good day. This day, we have a real special guest. We have someone, a veteran of the Hitless community, someone that a lot of people know as Lizard, and also known as the SL1 Master, being known for completing different games on SL1 and one of the few person, if I think is the only one, that have done God Run 2 back to back SL1, working right now on God Run 3 SL1, one of the hardest run possible in the Hitless community. I'm talking about Mr. Dino Sangel, also known as Lizardman or Nico. Mr. Nico, it's so nice to have you here. It's my pleasure. I'm really happy to have you here. It's a bit late, but congratulations for the run. It's been a while that since you got God Run 3 and God Run 2 also won. It's been a while. Yeah, is probably, like I say, one of the hardest run for sure, if not one of the hardest in the hitless community. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think the marathon runs in general, like I have done a lot of single game runs as well, within Souls, but the marathon runs they are especially hard because of just how long they are, and the resets they hit real hard. Obviously, if you have to go back after like beating, I don't know, 5 games and then you have to all the way back to the beginning, that's tough.
Yeah, I can imagine. So before we talk more specific about the God Run 3, which is the run that I would like to talk, and probably a bit of the God Run 2 also one, I would like to know or talk about your hitless career and all the time you have been running. So for how long have you been running for now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think for about 5.5 years, roughly. Like, I'm not quite sure exactly when I started, but I think about 5 to 5.5 years now. Yeah, there must have been. I think I started running hitless in 2018.
It's been quite a time.
Yeah, it's been a long time already. Yeah.
Like, I think that when we talk about the first person like that started this boom of hitless, I think that your name also with Hope are the one of the biggest name that comes to the to my mind, at least.
I mean, there are definitely, in terms of content creation, bigger hit. Like at this point, Gino is definitely a bigger content creator than I. For just as an example, I think we started around the same time.
Yeah,
Gino might have been even a little bit earlier than I.
Yeah, that for sure. I will say that at least in my mind, I always had this idea that you, Hop, and Gino, I was like the grandfather of Hitler, Like, it's always, oh, yeah, these are the guy that started everything, Also, like, Max Tulsi, maybe Ghost, even.
Yeah, there are also other names, obviously. Before that, there was Faraz and Squilla Killer, of
oh,
course.
yeah,
Like,
Killer.
These guys were earlier. I would consider myself second generation. Like, I started after these guys started, definitely.
Yeah, I see. And what make you start doing hitless? Because a lot of people, like the newer runners, always say, "Oh, I started like to run because I saw Hub or because they saw one of the new runners." But since you were like one of the first, what made you start running in first place?
I mean, it was kind of. I started playing Dark Souls in 2018 because one of the people who were watching me at that point in time, they were uh, telling me if there was the remastered was dropping, I believe, in 2018, like in summer 2018, the Dark Souls remastered.
Yeah, around that time.
Yeah, they were referring it to me and said, you have never played Dark Souls. Why don't you try out the Dark Souls Remastered?" So I did that, and I immediately fell in love with Dark Souls when I started playing it. I have never played a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls or whatever before that time, so I played it and I fell in love with it, and then I kind of stumbled into that hitless thing on YouTube first. Like I watched Hop. He around this time he beat his trilogy no hit run, the first trilogy no hit run ever,
Yeah.
and I stumbled onto that trilogy no hit run on YouTube, and I couldn't believe that somebody would beat that game that I just died hundreds of times on my playthrough without taking a single hit by any enemy.
Yeah, it
It
sounds
was just
crazy when you think
yeah.
about it. Like sometimes as hitless runner, we forget because we are so used to watching crazy runs, but
Yeah.
even at just a simple any percent, it's hard
Yeah.
because we are playing the game at perfection level.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, for an outsider, it sounds or looks crazy sometimes. That's true. But from our perspective, it's just that you repeat it all the time and you learn it and you perfect it, and then it doesn't feel that hard any longer, right?
Yeah,
And it doesn't feel
exactly.
that. Yeah.
It's
That's
a
true.
really weird feeling that for sure. So
Mm,
you start because you saw Hop with the trilogy. I feel that a lot of runners, even myself, that my first contact with Hitless was
mm.
also Hop with the Godrun one.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the Godrun one as well live on Hop stream the entire time. It was like really really cool to watch back then when he grinded the first Godrun.
It was such a crazy moment. The one I have the moment to watch was Godrun 2. I
Mm,
remember the day that he got it. I think that
mm.
it was his dog that got stung by bees, and he had to stop playing Dark Souls 2 to
That
to
might
to send it to the bed. I remember something like that.
yeah, that might be true. I actually don't know, but that might be true though. Yeah, I can't really remember, but that might be true. Yes. And
And
then wait, and then he came back
no, he
after.
closed the stream. He closed the stream like he
Okay,
was a
and then the
start.
next day he
Yeah,
continued.
exactly. And
Okay,
because he was
okay.
on game 6, because yeah, game
Yeah,
6,
yeah.
it was Dark Souls 2. He finished the Dragon Rider cheese,
Mm,
and he say, "Oh, my dog, like Link, I think it's called his dog.
yeah.
It seems like he's stung by bees. I don't know if I should stop I don't know how good is he. I think we need to take him to the vet." And then he stopped
Uh-huh.
it and open stream the next day and got the run like nothing.
Yeah.
I feel in
Nice.
that when you run with a clear mind, it just like, I don't know if you have experienced this, like you one of these days that you cannot progress after the early game of any percent, and then like you take a big break, like let's say 1 week, 2 week, and for some reason
Mm.
you feel you can get the run like literally first try.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of true, at least. Yeah. I don't know. You learn while taking these breaks, right? Or it feels like that at least.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel that we
You get
learn.
better by like you practice a lot and you do it a lot, and then you take a break a little bit, and then when you come back, you feel like so much. I don't know. You're not that caught up in your own head anymore. It feels like, to me at least, that's the case.
Yeah,
It's
I think
just
I
a
feel
little
the
bit
same.
easier. Yeah, and it feels fresh, and then it feels a little easier than before.
Yeah, and well, you say that you start with Dark Souls, like Hitler with Dark Souls 1, right? With the remaster.
Yeah, that was my first playthrough, but not my first hitless run. Like my first hitless run was on Dark Souls 3.
Oh, it was 3, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what made you start with the 3 and not the other? I mean, Dark Souls 2, I guess that not that everyone start with Dark Souls 2,
Um,
but why not Dark
yeah,
Souls 1 though?
I played through Dark Souls 1, and then I obviously progressed through the Dark Souls games. Like I played Dark Souls 2 next, and then I played Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
And Dark Souls 3 just was my favorite one. I really, really, really liked it a lot. I liked the boss fights a lot. I liked, and then I kept like playing it a little bit. I played it a second and a third time, and then I yeah, decided to do. I wanted to do a deathless run first, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of was watching Hop and these other guys already, and I implemented like hitless strats into my deathless run, and that was not very, you know, like not very smart because
Yeah, I
it's
can
like a completely different type of run.
yeah, imagine like using Artisar on Deadless. Oh my god.
Yeah. And then I decided for myself, why not like try hitless immediately, right? Instead of like just skipping the deathless part and try to get a hitless run. And then I think it took me quite some time. Back then the strats were also a little bit different than they are nowadays.
Yeah,
It was
they
a
were
little bit
really
more
different. And I
Monka
think that
W everything.
I think that even Hob hasn't updated his strat. He keeps doing really Monka W
Yeah.
strat. They're so hard.
Yeah, and it took me like around, I don't know, 3 months, I believe, until I achieved my first ever hitless run, and I could finally join Team Hitless. That was my goal, to join Team Hitless
Yeah.
back then. There were not many people in Hitless back then. There were, I don't know how many, like 20 people or so.
Yeah, it was a really small community. Nowadays we are over 1,000, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
The community has grown so much that is crazy
Yeah,
to think
there's
about it.
so many people, and there are so many new people, and you can't even keep up with it. It's There's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's for sure. And tell me, Nico, when you finish your first run or your first couple run, what made you decide to keep continuing? Like what you say, okay, I don't stop here. I need to continue getting runs.
That's a good question. I like it. I kind of like that feeling of working on something and working towards like a goal, and at some point after a while you achieve it for yourself, you know, and it's always a lot of fun for me to go through that process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's a little bit, I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes it's also frustrating, of course,
Oh yeah, that for
yeah.
sure.
And there are days where I would rather do something else, but overall, I'm like a very passionate hitless runner, and I love what I do. And I really want to keep pushing the boundaries a little bit, especially when it comes down to marathon runs. I would love to keep pushing the boundaries a little bit further than they are right now.
Yeah, and let's be a more specific. What made you decide to start doing the God run? Because there is runners like, for example, Sweat. Sweat doesn't want to, like, he's really good, hitless in general, but he doesn't want to do God run because they're just any percent, you know. And there are other people that say, oh, God run is just a straight super hard. It's just too much mental fatigue, you know. So what made you decide? Okay, I'm going to run it.
I think, like, I started with the trilogy, obviously.
Yeah.
I did that first. And I think what made me do it is that I had the opportunity to just play different games, I guess. And all of these runs are different and have their own little things. You have to know about them. And I think, like, playing different games and making it like a longer journey kinda was appealing to me. That makes any sense? I really liked running these any percents, and I was always, I don't know, I was always so in awe when I started all of this, when I saw Hop getting like an any percent almost every single day.
Yep.
And he made it look effortless, you know what I mean? Just like I started Dark Souls game and I just no hit it real quick, you know?
Yeah,
And
I feel
and I
that all
wanted
these experienced runner, make it sound like it's just nothing. You know, it's just normal, like a normal day in the office in a way.
yeah. And I wanted to do the same kinda. I don't know. I really wanted to be as good, and I wanted to, he inspired me basically, I'd say. And then I started like with the trilogy, and then I snowballed into that God run. And I remember him doing the God Run 2 afterwards, and I didn't want to run the God Run 2 next to him, so we have kind of like a race going or something, that there would be like some kind of rivalry or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I decided to do instead of doing the God Run 2, I decided to do the same run again, just on level 1.
That's
Like
when all
5 game run.
started in a way.
Yeah.
I think that at this point, that's one of your biggest brand, the Godrun SL1.
Mm.
And comparing, I mean, obviously SL1 is already harder. Like I would say, in case Dark Souls 2, it changed the game totally. On Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, not that much in my opinion. But in 1 to 10, how difficult do you think the increase was on difficulty? Like going from Godrun 1 to Godrun 1 SL1?
From God Run 1 to God Run SL1. Like back then I didn't have as much experience, of course, as I have nowadays. I would say that the difficulty is just much higher, especially when you approach in one particular any percent when you approach the late game.
Yep.
Like the late game fights are almost always become like real endurance fights, or some mid game fights as well. You just have to stay within these boss fights way longer, and when you could, like a good example is probably on Dark Souls 3, the Dragon Slayer armor,
Oh,
right? Like
yeah.
on a leveled like run, you don't even have to think about
Second
it,
phase.
because you can just you can skip second phase, right? You have the damage to do that. But on a level 1 run, you have to really struggle through second phase, and second phase is like a very tough piece, and that goes for so many bosses on a 5 game run, or also on the 6 and the 7 game run, of course. And I think that's what makes it so much more difficult. Is just these fights become endurance fights, and they
You-
really are much harder than, not only because you do less damage, also because it's just you have to dodge so many more attacks, right, and be so much longer within the boss fight, and
it take much time. I think that even it's not even that. For example, on Dark Souls 2, you have to do 4 rottens, and rotten is not even a hard boss. But doing 4 rotten in a row, there's some people that do two rotten and then later 2 other more. But some people do 4 rotten in a row. That's literally an endurance fight. Like you get tired a lot.
Yeah. And on level 1, it's obviously even
worse. Yeah.
Because you can't really like roll these attacks well. You have to you have to kind of dance around the boss the entire time, and try to play it mostly. Like sometimes you roll, of course, because you're not fast enough or something, and then you have to really iframe it perfectly. But oftentimes it's just that you want to outrun these attacks, right? You don't want to be in that position that you have to roll it, because the iframes are so limited on this game when you're level 1 that
it's horrible for sure. Yeah, also like this attack, like it's like a dark magic slam that is like, it's not even a slam, it's like a sniper shot actually.
Yeah, exactly. It's cone,
yeah, it's totally horrible. It has when I was running any percent, it called me different time for sure, because how tricky it can be.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to like get away from him a little bit, and then in the wrong moment when you're like running away, loads up this attack, and then you have to somehow make it back to him.
Yeah, it's totally horrible, because the hitbox is not even a straight line. It has such a big AoE. It's horrible. Oh god, freaking rotten, dude. But do you know, that's way better than doing Iron Keep, you know?
Yeah, true.
That's true. Now
you could technically go for that spider lady, like for a time. What the spider? What is she called? Freya. Right?
Freya. Yeah, I think that doing 4 Freyas, people does it on magic runs. Well, I did it on my only sorceries that sadly I lost the BOD. But on my only hexes, I didn't do her, but I did 4 rottens. And if you know, rotten has high resistance to dark attacks. It was
I didn't. Yeah, I thought so. I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, it was really painful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was not even because I was thinking of probably faster. No, because I was following to back then the Dolos guide that he did for only hexes, And I was like, yeah, if Dolos, that he's a DS2 experienced runner, is telling me to do Rotten instead of Freya, it's for a reason. And then when I got the run, he told me, yeah, I don't know what I'd say on my guide to do Rotten when Freya is way faster. It was painful, but it was a really fun run overall, though.
Yeah. I
No.
like that. Actually, I like running that. That might be contrary to what most people think, but I like running Dark Souls too. It's kind of a fun.
It's fun because
run.
you are doing like different things each time, and I would say that the worst part is just some running section in a specific, but you are always doing something on the running section that it became so fun to run in general. It's a
enjoy it
really
as well.
I feel that Dark Souls 2 is one of the best from software game to do challenge run in general, by how many routes you have, so many meta weapons, or even the Skull of Magic. Like running magics in Dark Souls 2 is so fun, except if you're running Pyro or Miracle, because they do extremely low damage.
Yeah.
It's sad that on Dark Souls 1, Pyros are absolutely broken, and then they just absolutely nerfed them on Dark Souls 2. That's really sad.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I did like that Pyromancy trilogy once. That was like a couple of years ago. Where we did
yeah.
all the 3 games back to back, Pyromancy only. And I remember going through Dark Souls 2 Pyromancies was extremely painful, especially Shrine of Amana, because you can't really like throw these Pyromancies far, and you have to work with like
combustion.
With like throwing knives, and then you have to bait them into like explosives and your combustion and all of that stuff.
That was
really hard.
Really hard for sure. Like Pyros, I'm glad that at least they are kind of stronger on Dark Souls 3. I feel that magics are not that strong on Dark Souls 3 though. I never used them though. How strong are they?
The sorceries.
Yeah.
Sorceries they're all right. Depending on the boss, it's pretty good actually, I'd say. I personally really like it.
I may have to do a playthrough.
Much cooler though. Like Pyromancies on Dark Souls on Dark Souls 3 is one of my favorite no-hit runs. But Pyromancy all bosses is such a super cool run on Dark Souls 3. I really like that one.
I see a lot of people really enjoy using Pyros on Dark Souls 3 at least. I think that and it's kind of weird because I was thinking that a lot of bosses, like, you know, that Dark Souls 3 is all around the fire, like the ember and all of that. So you will think that a lot of bosses have big fire resistance actually, and I don't think they have.
No, like some of these bosses are actually pretty vulnerable to it, right?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised.
There are only a few. Like Yorm does have is fire immune, I believe. You have to get like the dark pyromancies.
Yeah,
if I remember correct.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The rest you can pretty much burst them with flames.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I might have to do a pyro playthrough on some point. It looks really fun to use.
It's so fun. It's super fun. You should definitely do it. It's like my favorite playstyle on Dark Souls 3, I believe.
I will have to. Now let's talk about when Sekiro came out. Like, I think that Sekiro is the bane of a lot of hitless runners. So a lot of people, when Sekiro came out, they say, okay, Sekiro is impossible to do on no hit. Do you think also that, or you saw it from a different approach?
Sekiro is definitely like the good thing about Sekiro is that it's short.
Yeah.
Luckily it's short, and the running sections are...
They're not running sections, to be honest. Like, they are non-existent.
You don't have to worry about the running parts, right? But the bosses are very, very tough. And
yeah, totally.
You have to like deflect everything perfectly according to the hitless rules. You have to like perfectly parry everything. You can't just block an attack like you would in a no damage run or whatever. So you have to parry everything perfectly, and that is obviously by the amount of the attacks in this game is
it's really hard. It's not like in Dark Souls, for example, Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, that you do a lot of parry to bosses and they have like the same timing, but on Sekiro the parries are always different, so that make it even harder. It's really complex for sure.
And yeah, some of these boss fights are just, you have to practice them much more, because it's so fast paced that there is no time to think about anything, basically. Like, it has to be within your muscle memory, basically.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
no other way than just it being in your muscle memory.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember that my way to practice Ishin, like both Ishin, it was putting them to have almost infinite posture and be
mm,
hours just deflecting them and doing
yeah,
a small attack so I can get used to it until in my hands it was this, like you say, muscle memory.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly how you have to do it. Like, it has to, it has to be exactly like that, because within the fights, it's just everything's happening so fast that you can't just start thinking about it. Oh, if Ishin does this, then I'd have to do that, or then I have to, run here or deflect this, or and you just have to see it and immediately know what to do. And
Yeah,
the moment you don't, you will be hit, or you will block or whatever, and
yeah,
then
you
it's
have
over.
like only 1 second
Yeah,
to know what to do. Like, okay, do I dodge
yeah,
or do I parry or what do I do here? You know, like for
yeah,
example, on Dark Souls 3, the beginning of a Gondir, okay, I can roll this attack. I don't like it. I'm going to parry the next one because no, here you have to think like really fast. It's horrible for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You literally
Yeah,
have to
that
short your brain and just your hands, trust your hands, basically.
exactly. Just like turn the brain off and just trust your muscle memory. Yeah.
It's really hard. Would you say that it was Sekiro the hardest for you on while doing God Run 2?
Yeah. When I started the God Run 2, learning Sekiro back then was very, very tough for me. I remember that I was like angry at some days. I was so angry. I could have destroyed my entire setup over Sekiro every once in a while. It was so infuriating. I don't know. It has also a bunch of, I mean, it has like a bunch of memes as well
Oh yeah, don't
within
even
these boss
talk to
fights,
me.
and
I don't know. Well,
some.
I run Immortal Severance, and
Mm,
I got hit to Ishin on the run, and I think you know Crux, the guy that runs Sekiro,
mm, of course,
and
yeah.
yeah, I showed him the clip, and he told me, "Oh, yeah, this is a weird meme, a weird RNG that only happens 1 in 1,000 RNG."
Yeah,
Is is
that's Sekiro in a nutshell
Sekiro in a
sometimes.
nutshell. Like you have to take in account so many things, so many bugs, so many timings, so many it's that you just go crazy at some point. Like I
Yeah.
feel that Sekiro, like now that I have played, I have run Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and I have played Bloodborne.
Mm,
I and also I run Elden Ring. I think that Sekiro is the one that it's just really tiring mentally on hitless for some reason.
yeah, yeah, for me as well. I think it was so hard for me at the beginning, because you come out of this like Souls gameplay style, and you played like Demon Souls maybe, and Dark Souls 1 hitless, and Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, and everything is kind of similar, like there's like a dodge roll, and there are like weapons you use, and Sekiro is just so different, and you have to adapt to a completely different play style. And that, I think, what makes it so hard in the beginning to learn the
Oh,
basics and to understand
totally.
what you have to do.
Yeah.
And at least I think that's how it was for me.
No, it was also
Uh,
for me. I
yeah.
remember I played Sekiro casually,
Mm,
and I was trying to play it as a Soul game. And I don't know, I'm going to attack this always. Sekiro is not a Souls game. I don't know what everyone says. And I hate it so much. Like casually is horrible. Like you get thrown against Gyobu. No, I'm sorry, to the ogre. First to the
yeah.
ogre, then
Yeah.
to Gyobu, and
Yeah.
then to the bull. Like those
Yeah.
three bosses, literally the worst three of bosses to begin your journey in Sekiro. Like what is that? First you have a boss that one shot you, right? One shot you. Then you have the hardest boss because Gyobu is the hardest boss ever. And then you have the bull that you gotta parry because it burns you.
Yeah. Yeah, you have it's like three different playstyles basically for three different bosses.
It's
And
horrible.
I think it was exactly the same for me when I started my first playthrough in Sekiro. The moment when it clicked for me was, I believe, when I fought Genichiro on the rooftop, and it took me quite a while to beat him.
Oh, Genichiro. I was, no joke, I was 12 hours on stream fighting Genichiro. I couldn't. I say, I can't. I stop. I say, we're trying to borrow. I can't. He won. He won the war. I closed a stream, went to bed. Literally, you know those situations. I think that you literally you're just
of course.
you're watching the ceiling,
Just
thinking
it's just
like
resignation then. You can't do it any longer.
it's so horrible. Like you say, yeah, but maybe that you don't even mad. You just say, damn, I suck at this. It's horrible. And then for nothing because the next day I killed him first try. You know, I was it was so weird, dude. It happens, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. Like when it clicked for me, that rooftop fight, it was so satisfying. I don't know. For some reason, at some point, I understood how to do that, and that there's like this back and forth and this sword dance you're in, and then like it's his round to attack you, and then you start parrying, and after you parry a perfect time, you can attack him again, and there's this back and forth within this game. And the moment I understood it and I got better at it, it was so satisfying to play. I don't know, like I would say this is the best combat system from Software create. Of course, it has memes and it's sometimes infuriating to run hitless, but overall, this combat system is
it's really clean for sure. I think that at least for one-on-one fights, for example, Genichiro, Awo, Monk, what else? No, the All Father. Like All Father is one of my favorite fights in Sekiro. Like by how much I hate Sekiro, that's one of my favorite fights. All Father is really nice. I think that these fights one-on-one are really nice, you know, because you are the one in control. You decide which timing do you want to fight, and also you have the prosthetic. That the prosthetic are really nice. But the moment that they throw you one extra enemy, the fight goes like to whenever, you know, like you remember this boss fight, the double monkeys?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I hated that fight with all my will. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's actually not the coolest boss fight in Sekiro. That's true.
No, and I also feel that at least Sekiro has a problem when they attack you like not with a weapon, like either with the bare hand or something like that. It's like harder timing, and also like it doesn't do the clink part. It does like you block it. It's really weird for sure.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, the sword to sword combat is much better than anything else.
Yeah, it feels more comfy.
Yeah, I take every enemy with a sword over like whatever other enemy in this game.
Yeah, that for sure.
It's just cooler.
Now, we have a question here from Pause. Like he asked for like which is your advice to cope with frustration and being patient when learning the fights on hitless?
Oh man, I think that you have to always tell yourself that it takes time, you know, like I'm not like a god gamer or anything like that. I just like keep on pushing oftentimes, and I do that for like 5-6 years now, and I will keep going for the next I don't know how long years. And it's just always small steps, you know. The first like days when you learn something, it might
be hard,
not click at all, yeah, and you die a lot, or you don't get something hitless done or whatever. But it will get better, and the moment it gets better and you notice that yourself, I think that's extremely satisfying, and it's well worth it. even though there are these like rough patches in between where it's where it doesn't work out as well as you want it to. And if you keep telling yourself that you're um that this that it will get better and that you will get better at something eventually, then I think you can push through these like rough patches easily.
Yeah,
Or not
I
easily,
agree on that.
but you can definitely make it more manageable for yourself.
Yeah, I feel that if you approach like with the mentality that you are doing something hard, you know, that
Yeah.
you're not going
Of
to.
course, you always do that. You can't just look at someone who already achieved something or who already knows how it's done, and then you can tell yourself, oh yeah, now I have to like do that yourself, and you beat yourself up over like failing or whatever. That's just not how it works. Every
Yeah,
time I do that as well, and every time I do it, I feel like a piece of shit, and that's just, you won't learn as good and as fast if you do it like that, obviously.
yeah, that's for sure. I think that everyone has different way to cope with the frustration about at least on Heedless, but
Mm.
I think that everyone agrees that you should not punish yourself for not doing it at the first try. You know, even if
Yeah.
you have time doing Heedless, I think the best is just remind that, like we say earlier, is we are playing games at perfection, you know. We sometimes forget that we need to forgive ourselves and well, have the knowledge that we can fail, but we can learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's pretty much about Hitless.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah. It's true.
Now the frustration topic came. Let's talk about frustration while running the God Run.
Mm.
So how, like we said, coping, but which hit during the God Run, all the three God Run, 1, 2, and 3, which hits were the worst that you say that you think I'm not getting the run?
I don't know if there was one where where I would have said I'm not getting it at all, but I remember one particular hit where it took me, after I took that particular hit, it took me like 2 weeks to recover from it,
Oh
like
God.
mentally recover from it.
Oh God.
And that was on the God Run 2, and I remember being on last game, and it was my strongest game, Dark Souls 3,
Mm-hmm.
and I was almost through, like I was on Pontiff Sullivan,
Yeah.
and I rolled. My roll was a little bit off, but not in a way that he would hit me. Like, when you get Pontiff into this loop, and he does always the same attacks over and over again,
Yeah.
and then and I was in that loop, but I rolled to the side because I had
Oh.
no space behind me, and I rolled to the side, and I thought he wouldn't follow up a particular attack, but he did and turned, and I don't know. There were so many people watching, and I was on my strongest game, and I was almost through the game, and I remember thinking to myself that I don't know. I was beating myself up over it a lot. Like, obviously, that was the end of the stream. Then I couldn't like,
Continue. No, there's no way.
restart on that particular day, and I came back and tried again the next day, of course. And I think it took me not that long to beat the run. Then, I think it was like 4 weeks after that hit that we beat the run, or 3 weeks after that hit that we beat the run. But that one was really hard to digest for me because I knew
What to do?
if I wouldn't, I know, obviously I know what to do there, and I knew that if I wouldn't have taken that hit, I'm 95% I would have beaten the run on that day.
It's just that I feel that the moment that we are on our comfy game and we get hit to those situations, like, okay, why this happened? It's like it's so frustrating. Like, you don't if those are those hits that you don't really have an answer to that in that moment, you know, so you feel mad and confused. I feel that those are the worst hit that you don't really have a question for them, like an answer, I mean. It's really really
Yeah,
frustrating.
yeah, that's true. Like, cause you know, if you could take a hit like that, you know you could have done better, right? Because it's
Yeah,
like your comfy game and it's the one you know so well, and then you, yeah, I don't know, you feel bad because you know that couldn't have happened.
yeah, it's really frustrating for sure. Like
Uh,
it's just straight painful. It's just straight painful. Now talking about outside now again of the God Run, you have
mm,
done different runs to this point. Beside God Run, you have done trilogy. You have done also all bosses. But if you
mm.
have to pick five of them, no, not other like top one, top two, no, like without order. Which runs will be your favorite outside of God runs, of course?
Mm, outside of the god runs, the as I said, the pyromancy all bosses run on Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two would be the sorcery only Dark Souls 1 was pretty fun.
Okay.
The what is it called? The dagger. What is it called? The dagger.
Bandit knife.
The bandit knife.
Uh
Thank you. Bandit's knife only run on Dark Souls 3.
oh
Also extremely fun run. I did that on any percent, and that was super fun.
yeah.
With that,
I
you
found
know.
so funny how From Software decide to make the daggers in general in Dark Souls 3 so broken with the
Yeah,
quick step and the
yeah.
bleeding, and then
I
for
had
some
so much
reason,
fun with that quick step, and
yeah,
it's so sexy to play with that quick step,
like
and then yeah,
do it Cinder with the quick step and then the blood bandit knife. God damn,
yeah,
it's so beautiful to watch and to play.
yeah. It's a lot of fun. Other than that, good question. That was on really hard any percent on Dark Souls 3 I did like years ago. That was kind of fun, but it also was very, very hard. I would say that's harder than level 1 and stuff. It was bow only, Dark
Oh
Souls 3 no
God.
hit run. That was also a cool run, but yeah.
It's a
Really
run that
tough.
you will not do again for sure.
No, of course not. And I think the incantation only Elden Ring.
Oh, that's a fun one. Incantation are
That was a
really fun
very
to
cool.
on Elden Ring.
That was a very, very cool run. I really had my fun with this one. Wait, am
It,
I missing one, or was that 5?
oh,
The bandit
if you
knife?
have honor or like a honorific mention, like to say on any run.
What I also enjoyed a lot was Dark Souls 1, like just a normal Dark Souls 1 all bosses. For
Oh,
some reason, Dark Souls 1, I like running all bosses a lot. Just the normal all bosses run. I really enjoy like the DLC on Deus 1 to
oh,
run at hitless.
Dios. I still saying that Artorias is just one of my favorite fights from Software. Like,
Yeah, and Manus is also really cool. I
it's
really
they're
like.
really cool fight. I remember Calamite being hard, but I think that all the bosses from the DLC are really nice in general.
Mhm. Yeah, they are cool.
They're really nice for sure. Now, well, we talk about a bit God Run 1, God Run 2. Let's get again a specific on God Run 3.
Mhm.
So, the addition of God Run 3 was Elden Ring.
Yeah.
How hard do you think it was adding Elden Ring to this series, to this marathon?
And now, like when I first did the first God run, and I did like the Elden Ring part with the Reduvia, I think it was kind of tough, to be honest, to learn it, because I'm also not the fastest learner, you know. Like
Yeah,
it takes me a little while to learn this. Sorry,
no,
to
don't
learn
worry.
that stuff. And but overall, I would say Elden Ring is a very accessible game for hitless. Uh, nowadays, especially if you use like
The meta
the
runs.
yeah, the meta run with the iron balls or something, and then you have a lot of scripted boss fights, right, where you know exactly, like, if I do this, then I will get this fight hitless.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And
I will say that Elden Ring can be either the easiest or the hardest. Depends on how you take it.
Yeah, of course. Elden Ring has like a great variety of difficulty because you can just make it extremely fucking hard if you want to.
Yeah, like just well, we have the guy for Morgoth, like it's literally just a thesis from Recycle. That is crazy how many situation on only one boss can happen, you know?
Yeah, yeah. The when you go low damage Elden Ring
Oh
and you
god.
fight stuff like bosses like Morgoth, for example, then you really need to learn this in depth. Like you need to understand, and they're so tough to fight.
Totally.
I'd say on low damage, these bosses are much more difficult than most other From Software game bosses.
Now, well, we know that when the Godrun 3 started, there was
Mhm.
this big race. It was Bushido, Hub. I think that also CVD tried to go for the Godrun. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know if Gino tried or joined the
Mm,
race. I don't think
no,
so.
like no. Back then, I think he didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it was like yeah, a hop as well. Yeah,
yeah, which
true.
one your perspective while this race for the World First of the Godrun 3 happened? What were you thinking?
um, to be honest, I always wish these other guys well. You know,
Yeah,
I knew that like either Hop or Bushido would get it, or I, because we were the three people with like by far the most experience when it comes down to these marathon runs. And Bushido was like my Bushido was my pick for the first one on this run because it was like the first one to beat Elden Ring hitless as well, right?
yep.
And um uh, he he's very good at Sekiro.
Yeah, the way that Bushido played Sekiro is I feel that for some reason it's crazy how all the Spanish runners have this really good level in Sekiro, you know?
Yeah,
It's
there are a lot of people who play that really well.
yeah, I blame the I don't know if you know him, Alex El Capo, the streamer. He was
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
yeah, he was pretty much the reason why so many Spanish runners start to run Sekiro. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was like the biggest like he did Sekiro. It was
Mm-hmm.
a really big boom
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people start running because of him. Like that's a lot of the reason why like, a lot of people only have Sekiro at his run and never try other run.
Yeah, I know Alex is like a gigantic streamer. I know. I think I follow him even on Twitch.
Yeah, it's crazy how far Hitless has reached, to be honest, like reaching
Mm-hmm.
such big streamers in general.
Yep, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching the race for Godrun 3
Mm-hmm.
and it was totally crazy, to be honest. It was totally crazy, like being so many people on game 5 and then I remember Bushido didn't even had Gold Round 1 actually. He was
Yeah.
so crazy, he literally got because he wanted to get all of them
Separate, yeah. But then he
separately.
decided, yeah, he got the one, and then he reset, and then
He got two and
he
he's like,
he
fuck
got
it, let's go
two.
for Elden
Yeah,
Ring.
yeah, exactly. And then he just like went for it, and he got it, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like it was such crazy moment. I found like these runs for the Wolfers, as long as the like there's like friendly barter, like always on
Yeah.
the friendly
It's
way, it's
yeah, it's
always
fun
nice. It's
when you
really
run
fun.
against each other. Like if it's a friendly competition, it's like fun to do
Really
so. Yeah.
really fun. Like I always feel like for these things, even for speedrun, for speedrun
True.
this friendly competition is always nice to have because it pushes you to keep going in a way.
Yeah, true. It's gonna happen again for sure. If From Software drops the next game, then it's going to happen again with the next big marathon for sure.
Yeah, we need to add Armor Core 6 to the God Round 4.
Yeah.
Totally. And which game was your favorite to run beside, well, you say Dark Souls 3, but exactly on SO1, which is your favorite to run?
SL1, I really. That's a good question. Like I think DS DS3. Besides DS3, you say?
Yeah,
Or
beside DS3.
um. Hmm. I would say DS1. DS1 or
DS1.
Bloodborne is like the with Bloodborne. It's that some of these bosses you just cycle through, even
Mm.
on BL4. There are there are or it's like a real endurance fight, like it is on the shadows. You know, like you have to fight them for so long.
Oh yeah, Shadow of Jarnam is such. I feel that I see Shadow of Jarnam as I see Cinder in Dark Souls 3. It seems
Mm.
so hard always.
Yeah, Shadows of Yharnam is especially on BL4. It's tough because that phase transition you have to go through, and when you want to kill one, it's not easy. You have to set it up properly, and you have to buff yourself up, and even then, it's sometimes it's close. But
So
yeah, I think I'd say Dark Souls 1. Yeah, Dark Souls 1 is kind of nice, even though it doesn't like it's not that crazy different from the leveled run, I'd say.
okay.
It's kind of fun because we rerouted a little bit. So I don't know. I used to do like parries on Gwyn.
Mm-hmm.
Like four parries, right? Is what you do on Gwyn with the hammer.
Yeah, I
But
think
now we
4. Yeah.
yeah we reroute that now. And we use pyromancies on Gwyn because you can do that on level 1 since you don't really need to level up to get like strong pyromancies on Dark Souls 1, right? Because you
Ye-
can just like use the souls for
And he enters this
pyromancy
loop.
class.
He keeps jumping, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's really nice for the Soul one for sure.
yeah. And then you don't have to parry him only once, and that's only the opening parry, and that's a very, very, or I wouldn't say easy, but it's like the
More comfy. It's more
yeah,
comfy.
it's a comfy parry.
That's for sure. Now,
Yeah.
here's another question. More about
Mhm.
like Hitless. What do you think is your point of view in Hitless? Like, there's people like I said, like for some people, Hitless is just not about just bragging of being good at a game. Like I'm not saying that everyone in the community does it,
Mhm.
but there's some people like for them Hitless is just, for example, proving them that they can be good at games, or to
Mhm.
proving them they have like something to prove, for example.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what is your take in Hit? Like, how do you see it? Like, what keep make you keep going, or like made you uh like Hitless in a way?
I I think it's kind of like it's a personal challenge, you know. I like to do that in video games my entire life already. I used to play a lot of PvP on like World of Warcraft, and after that I did play League of Legends, and I always wanted to be kind of decent or good at these games, and the same goes for these Souls games, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a nice way to challenge yourself without having that that PvP component, that exact PvP component. Sometimes it can be really infuriating if you have that player versus player thing going, and especially on League, of course,
Oh
you
God.
always keep blaming others and whatnot. And I don't know, it was kind of like a nice change of pace to challenge myself and um uh yeah run a game like Dark Souls, or even like other games in a hitless scenario or in any challenge run scenario, just to challenge yourself with video games.
Yeah, it's that feeling like I see it a lot. Like, I think that everyone agree like to prove yourself you can do something that like a personal challenge. That's a really nice way to
Yeah,
do it. I think that everyone's agreed on that.
yeah. And what you should try to avoid is like, of course you can do it every once in a while, and everybody does it, but what you should try to avoid at least is try to avoid comparing yourself too
Oh,
much to
that's
others.
really important for sure.
I do that as well. I do it like less nowadays, but I did it. and I still do it every once in a while, and it's not very healthy, you know. It doesn't help, and it also like it's your personal like challenge, whatever you want to do, and if you achieve whatever that may be, if it's a hitless run or a deathless run or I don't know, some SL1 playthrough or whatever it may be, then that's well worth it for yourself, and you should be proud of yourself that you achieved that.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that that's a good way to approach all this challenge. Always like the healthy way, and not like I feel that one of the biggest problems that a lot of runners, I think that it mostly happened when they are keep running. You know, like they have already a big time on the community. It's just they compare themselves to other runners, and that kills your mental so much in a way. It's horrible for sure.
And on top, it's also about, like, at least for me, it's also about the streaming part itself and about the entertainment and that other people enjoy what they see in some shape or form, you know, or hear. And that's kind of like part of all of this, of course. It has like it. I hope it also has like an entertainment value in some form.
Yeah, I feel that at least on your channel, you have a really good way to mix what is good gameplay and also the entertainment part. It's really like you always have something to say or something to like to find fun or something, you know? So it really nice to have like in the boring section of some games, like having some entertainment is always nice.
Yeah, I mean, you learn that with time as well, right? The more you stream and the more you do that, or the more you hitless run, the better you'll get at that stuff, obviously.
Yeah, I feel that it's something that just it comes with the time. For more that you run and more than you keep going, you learn how to make those boring section less boring in general.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now let's talk a bit about Team Hitless. Let's start with a hot take.
Okay.
If you could change one rule, any game, if you could change one rule, which rule would you change?
Which rule?
Yeah, which rule? Which one would you change?
That's a good question. I have no idea right now. Maybe to annoy some people and myself that you have to fight the Scion on Elden Ring. I don't know. That would probably be annoying for a lot of people if that would be a official hitless rule that you have to fight the Scion.
Oh God! Imagine. Imagine if you wake up tomorrow, and there is like this rule. Okay, you have to fight the Scion Elden Ring. I think nobody will run Elden Ring anymore.
Yes, but like on level 1 especially, it's going to be so annoying to fight him.
Oh God! I know that with the Uchigatana you can get more damage with the staggers and the blood,
sheath, right?
Yeah, but I remember that when the rule was to kill Scion, there were like these glitch that you could jump into one of the three in the arena and
and then just shoot him with the bow from the samurai.
Yeah, I remember those. Like when we think about it, Elden Ring is already some years old, and so many cool updated strategies. Such a little time, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, at the beginning, like this community was like a handful of people, right? And there were like 3 people routing Dark Souls 3 back then, and now it's like thousands of people routing Elden Ring. If you compare that, obviously, that everything that makes it much faster and much more efficient, and
it will be better for sure. Now, talking about the game of Team Hitless, have you been any interest in running a game that is not from the Souls in Team Hitless? Like, for example, Hades, Cuphead, Celeste, Hollow Knight?
Yeah, I did run like Resident Evil hitless.
Okay.
Um, and I enjoyed that very much. That was cool. It's just that sometimes I don't know, sometimes it's hard to run like another hard run next to a marathon run, and since I'm doing this like stupid god run SL1 at the moment, it's really tough for me to run like another hard run like Hollow Knight, for example, next to it, because yeah, I don't have the time to do both basically, you know.
Yeah,
And
it can be it can be really complicated.
yeah, and because you have to pump so much time into the marathon run,
Yeah.
and but I do enjoy running the other games as well. Like my dream scenario in the future, in a year or 2 years or whatever, is that I can run whatever game hitless and most people enjoy watching it. That would be nice.
Yeah, it will
No.
be. I feel that there's some game. For example, I start with Hades,
Mhm.
on Hitless, and it was really fun to run on Hitless for sure.
Mhm.
And I find really nice that Team Hitless is adding more games nowadays. Like obviously we have like recently we got add Skyrim and Minecraft,
Mhm.
and not long ago Lies of P. Like so much
Mhm.
people start to run Lies of P that I was so surprised, to be honest. I was really surprised that so many people wanted to get Lies of P.
Yeah. It's I mean it's an amazing game, Lies of P. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So far, I'm still playing it casually. I think that Lies of P, at least the gameplay still doesn't sell me. I didn't like
Mhm.
Sekiro, but I still think it's better than Sekiro. Like I'm still playing it because the story, the music, the atmosphere
Mhm.
is totally amazing. But I
Yeah.
feel that Lies of P is what would be if Sekiro were a good game for sure.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's true.
it's already a beam on at least on my channel. How I think
Yeah.
that Sekiro is just a reading party simulator.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you can't. Not everybody enjoys it, right? Of
Yeah,
course.
that for sure. I was on a hit list, like on a hit list with a lot of the Sekiro runners for that take. It was obviously from the friendly Barton, like, but it was really fun because I still think that Sekiro is a bad game casually, but on hitless is such a good game, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so as well.
Now, well, let's keep talking about the community. If
Mm-hmm.
you had to choose 5 people that you will say they are the goats from hitless, what would you pick? What would you put? No, let's not say goats. Let's say like the Hall of Fame of hitless. What would you put?
Mm-hmm. Mm, Shilky.
Oh, Shilke, of course.
Um. Hmm. Shilky. I mean, would it be too simpy if I say Hop because he started it all? Like.
No, I think that Hop, he was the person that inspired you after all. He was. I
Yeah.
feel I
Exactly.
feel that it is redundant to say Hop because
Okay.
Hop is always there. He must be there. I think
Yeah. Okay.
it's also a valid reason. It's a valid question answer to say that Hop being in
Mm-hmm.
the like Hall of Fame of Hitless.
Yeah. Of course, like Gino, of course, right? Because of his insane gameplay.
He's
And
insane. I feel like the gameplay that Gino can give and his practice. He practice so much. It's
yeah.
amazing how much he can practice.
Mm. Um. Hmm. There are so many. There have so many like dedicated. Like for example, Croax. He's like an insanely like dedicated Sekiro runner, right? But so is Seki, for example, as well. He beat like every Sekiro hitless run under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Yeah, I would say Seki as well. And who else? Oh, like who are really like he's not around that much any longer. Like Sweat, obviously, I know him for so long. I got a name Sweat as well. He's extremely good at hitless as well. And the last one, I'd say, even though he's not around any longer, I don't know if you guys know him, but Eden Issue. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if
I
you
I
guys
think
know Eden.
I have not heard of him.
Like Eden was like a hitless moderator for some time, but it was years ago, and he's now like day job 9 to 5 and all of that
Oh
stuff, and
yeah.
he doesn't do hitless any longer. But he was extremely good at Bloodborne. He was the first one to ever beat all bosses on BL4.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's great. That's crazy. Like if you tell, I will guess it was another person, but them seeing that it was someone from the Hitless community. That's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really, really nice. There is so much people to add to this like Hall of Fame of Hitless that will be short for sure. I feel that everyone having such a different answer for this question is so nice
Yeah.
because we could say how many runners we have nowadays. You know, it's so nice.
Yeah, it's like an insane amount. Like, there are so many incredible people as well, and they do so many incredible things, and it's so hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah, and nowadays that so many people running with even harder runs. Like for example, we have uh and we have Alexka that he was trying hitless Hades
Mhm,
because I inspired him to do it. And the
mhm.
first run he submitted, it was a world record hitless.
Nice.
It was crazy how nowadays the runners can submit as few runs such crazy runs. To be honest, it's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's really cool, right? That there are so many new people in the game, and also so many talented people, and um uh, that this hitless wheel keeps on turning.
Yeah, and it keep going, and it's not a close time that is going to stop for sure. This is going to keep going for sure. As
Yeah, absolutely. I'm certain. Yeah.
now to close a bit
Mm-hmm.
about the Godrun 3,
Mm-hmm.
which was your favorite part of all this time of running the Godrun 3, and which was your least favorite that you say I don't want to do this part again?
You mean like in terms of like a running section,
Yeah,
or
in general, like running section, bosses.
I think my favorite part of the God Run 3 was hmm. Ooh. Can I say something like, I don't know, I don't want to pick out one particular running section, but would it be okay to say something like when you get like a run going, when you're, let's say, game 3 or something,
Okay,
that is when it starts getting really fun. It doesn't
okay,
almost matter what game you play, but the moment you're in game 3, game 4, or even further, obviously, it gets
yep.
like really fun because the stakes are so high, and there's so much to lose, but also so much to gain.
Oh yeah,
And
I see where you're
um,
going. Yeah,
yeah, and that what makes it so fun to run oftentimes. And most oftentimes it doesn't even matter what game it is. It just,
the feeling of being there.
yeah, yeah, the feeling of being like that far in is great. And you also are more focused, and and there's this like, oh man, I really don't want to lose that right now. I'm so far in, and that kind of feeling is cool.
Yeah, I feel that at that point, like like I mean, round three or game three, game four, like there's so many behind. You have 2.5 games on your back. You need to
Mm-hmm.
be more focused. You need to like, and you have also the adrenaline. And here
Mm-hmm.
comes like also the question that Deb is asking us: do you still
Mm-hmm.
have nerves when running?
Like when I'm on game 1 or so, or
In
game 2
general,
or
like
whatever,
yeah, like in
I
general.
usually don't really know. No. But the moment I go further in, yeah, of course, like then then this gets like difficult for me as well.
Yeah, was there any moment that you were on game 4 or 5 that their nerves were too much that you had to stop or something?
Yeah, sometimes when I'm on game 5 or something and I know I can't finish it on one particular day, then I rather stop earlier than later with the stream
Yep.
because I don't know how to say that, but I don't want to lose the run at the end of a stream. I want to have that that feeling of that high, that I'm like, oh man, I made it to game 5.
Yeah,
And
I know what you
that
mean.
feeling, I want to have that for another 24 hours before I start the stream and lose it or whatever. I don't know. And I just want to have that for a little longer, and that's why I really try to not lose I try to keep the run as long as I can alive.
Yeah, so the at least the adrenaline and the can
Yeah.
keep you going.
Yeah.
I feel that that's a really nice way to a really nice perspective to see marathon runs in general.
Mhm.
And which marathon run would you like to try after you are out of, of a schedule, like you are clean or free? Which marathon run or which run would you like to try?
I don't know really. I've I've not thought about it yet, but maybe something like a Resident Evil trilogy or something,
Ooh.
or I don't know when this Silk Song game ever releases, maybe a Hollow Knight Silk Song back to back or something like that. I don't know.
Imagine copium, mega
Yeah,
copium. I feel that
it's
we
so
will
nice.
get Dark Souls 2 before Silksong at this
Yeah.
point.
I don't know, like something like that maybe. I haven't really thought about it yet.
I feel that we are
But
going to have, like, how big the Hollow Knight Hitless community is. I think we are going to have a lot of people going for Hitless, Silksong, and back to
oh,
back Hollow Knight and Silksong for sure. I'm looking
yeah.
really forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the game, but I'm looking forward for the people running it for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be crazy. How much time do you think it's going to take for the warfares of Silksong and Hades too, of course?
That's Oh yeah, Hades 2 is also coming out. That's going to it depends on how hard the game is going to be, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But
Maybe they're not even able to be hitless. Who knows?
yeah, I have no idea. But I if it's like similar to Hollow Knight, in terms of difficulty, it will for sure take some weeks or even months
I was
for the
I
first person will no hit it.
yeah, if I have to give a number, I think I will give it like 1 month and a half to
Mm.
see someone low PVs or like a really good run going like
Yeah, yeah.
that at least. All right, so we finished pretty much with the personal question about
Mm-hmm.
now. Let's go to I bring like I know that you are really experienced with S1, Nico.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the interview of the podcast, I
Mm-hmm.
like reviewing together some runs from the community, right?
Okay.
So I bring you two runs, two runs.
Yeah.
The first one we have is
Mm-hmm.
the SL1 DS1 from Antimion.
Okay.
He got it some weeks ago, if I'm not confused, some weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He got it quite fast, if you tell me. He was one of the person that he started running Dark Souls really
Mm-hmm.
after finishing his casual playthrough. I was the one person that guide him on his casual playthrough. Actually, it was really fun,
Yeah.
and watching him how he progressed through any percent and to SL1, it was really nice for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, when you run SL1 on DS1, what would
Mm-hmm.
you say are the critical parts? Without the critical part of this run?
Um, the critical parts are obviously ONS, like that's what first comes to mind. ONS is just like a terrible boss fight. It's really hard.
Yeah, even on any percent, it's super hard.
Yeah, Devin knows.
Shot fire to
And
them.
some running sections I don't really like the New Londo with the
Oh,
ghosts, for example, or um, hmm, yeah, the rundown to Pinwheel and like from Pinwheel all the way to Nito and stuff like that. And I also do not like, what I really, really don't like is the Four Kings boss fight. I hate
oof.
the Four Kings boss fight because like I don't really know what to do other than just bone out over and over again is when they throw like magic at you, for example.
Yeah, it
And
took me a while to learn how to deal with the magic on my any percent for sure.
yeah, and that's just like super infuriating that you have to bone out like 17 times, and
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that I think it was Carlo that he
Mhm,
told me that you can just walk away. You just
mhm,
walk away to your back because you only need to fight the four kings with the magics on really 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 low damage runs.
yeah.
And even on SL1, you just when if for example they open or they use magic, you just walk away. Like not even running. You don't need to run. You just walk
Mhm,
away. Wait until like obviously be sure you're not going to hit invisible wall like the end of the arena.
mhm.
And you just wait until
And then you
the
engage again
yeah, and
afterwards.
exactly that's it. It's really
Mhm,
simple actually. I feel
mhm.
that just I mean bunning out of course is a
Yeah, I
valid
always
strat.
Yeah, I always fear that I can't kill him fast enough. Like, let's say he does like another explosion attack or something, right? And I can't kill him fast enough, and then it'll just like a second king will spawn, and then I lose control over the fight or whatever, and that's kind of my fear, and that's why I rather like bone out and try it again.
Yeah, I mean it's way better to burn out and try the fight again rather than resetting for sure for something that you don't know how to deal with.
Mm.
Is way better. In terms of difficulty, I would say the Orsting Smoke and Forking. I think that on any percent they are straight hard already. On also one, how difficulty, like what would you recommend to deal with these bosses?
For ONS, it's just like practice, practice, practice. Obviously, like the most difficult part about ONS is that you get hit before you get hit, basically, because you navigate yourself into position and then Smo and Ornstein do like an attack combination, and you can't really get out of that any longer because the situation you're in like makes it impossible to roll both or to run one attack and roll the other or whatever. And that comes all with like just knowing or that you have seen that particular situation and you know what to do or what not to do.
Yeah.
And that's just like all about practice, and the fact that it's SL1 makes it just much more difficult. I don't know how much more difficult, but it makes it much more difficult because you're way longer in that fight instead of like hitting Ornstein 4 times with that halberd, which has also a better range and it's faster, obviously, or whatever weapon you choose to use on your leveled run. Um, uh, you have to, hit him like 6 times with that hammer or whatever it is. I think six times or whatever.
Yeah, it's around. The good thing about the hammer is that it does really good stagger damage. It's
Yeah,
really
exactly.
nice.
For the double hits, that's nice,
Yeah,
but not always possible to do a double hit, of course, because yeah, Smo is still within that fight, unfortunately.
yeah. I have seen some people, for example, Sebas, when he run it, he goes straight fear for Smog rather than Orsane.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. I have never done that. I know the first person to do that in Hitless was Comer, like
Okay.
back in the day. I don't know if you guys know Comer, but he was the first one to only kill or first kill Smo, and then at least the first one I saw doing it.
God, it's just that Super Orstein is so hard to control. But I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that on certain runs is better in terms of speed and how you deal with it for sure.
Yeah.
It can get really really complicated for sure.
Yeah. It
And
is.
which running section on SL1 can be complicated?
And Orlando.
Oof. An
Because
Orlando can be
yeah, because
really
yeah,
tricky for sure.
yeah, because you don't have a bow. I mean, you have a bow, but you can't use it, right? You can use it to lure enemies around, but you can't really, like, for example, here on these rafters, uh you can't just straight up shoot these ninjas off or whatever. You have to like lure them around, and the gargoyles later as well. You have to use like fire bombs. If I don't know if Anthemion bought like fire bombs on his run there,
Yeah, I think
but you have
he
to.
bought a bunch. I think that everyone buy a bunch of firebombs just because it's
Mhm.
the way to deal easier like also killing the giant blacksmith
Mhm.
and
Oh yeah, true.
killing
You
yeah
have to kill them with the fire bombs. So.
and killing random enemy. They do a lot of damage on Nestle One for sure. In general, they do a
Yeah,
lot of damage.
yeah, they're really good. Without them, this run would be much harder.
Yeah, I know that there is
Yeah.
even a strat with them to kill the giant that throws you fire bombs on before the iron golem. You can
Mhm.
like if you put in certain position, you can throw the fire bombs and just kill that that giant and do the fight normally like if you were doing it on any percent. It's really nice.
Mhm. Yep.
And
Yeah.
now, if you you say that you prefer more using pyros in SL1, right? On the S1, right?
Yeah. Or
In do you think it's
for specific fights,
in
but
Pacific
not
Flights?
like
Okay,
yeah. For Gwyn, for example, I think for Gwyn it's like perfect.
okay. In
Yeah.
which other fight do you think the fireballs like shot like can be really good?
I used to um uh, I used to do it for two other fights as well. The first one was like ONS. I used the combustion, the Great Combustion for
Okay,
ONS, and the third one I used it on Civ.
okay.
Because it's only 4 great combustions on Civ if you have a fully upgraded pyromancy glove, and it's like 5 or 6 hits with the hammer, and
Mhm.
that's why used to do Civ with the pyromancies as well. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, no worry, don't worry. Yeah, it seems very interesting how many paths are to take SL1 on Dark Souls 1 actually. It's really interesting.
Mm. Yeah, that's the cool thing about DS1 is that you have the pyromancer on level 1, right? And you don't need to level up to make these pyromancies strong. You just need the souls basically, and
Yeah, it's also really
that's
nice that
so
the
unique.
RTSR affects Pyros, I think.
Mm.
It's really nice. You end up
It does,
doing
yeah.
such big damage for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is the part that a lot of people you can either do it two ways. You can either lure them this and then throw them fireball like Antimion is doing, or you can just YOLO it and run away.
Yep, you can theoretically just YOLO through these guys,
They
but
can they
I
can
don't
be
really like it.
yeah, the times I have seen it, it's so spooky because you need to be aware if they can shoot you with the lighting. It's really really
Yeah,
spooky.
with these spears. Yeah.
That
That's true.
is totally horrible for sure. Let's see. I would like to let's see the Orsing Smog 5 because I was when I was watching this run and
Hmm.
I think the Orsing Smog 5 was quite something for sure. Quite something.
Yeah. Was it like a little bit
It was really spooky for
longer?
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a bit. And besides Orsing Smog and Four Kings, but
Mm.
which area do you think is free? Not difficult but free. Which areas?
Um. That's actually a good question. What is really free? I think that one of the easiest bosses on Dark Souls 1 any percent is Nito.
Okay.
in terms of like boss fights, I think Nito is very doable, especially with that new technique where you block like the scream attack. Scream attack was, in my opinion, one of the more difficult attacks to deal with. Oh, that charge there.
That bug
Uh,
charge is horrible. Oh god.
uh, yeah,
That
because rolling the scream attack was always, it was always a little monka. But nowadays, when you can just like basically block it, it's much more convenient. And Nito has almost you can just walk or run all attacks from Nito. It's you don't even have to roll really.
yeah,
Most times.
it's really nice to do no roller strats on Nito. Actually, I think
Yeah.
that was the way that a lot of people fight it for sure.
Yeah.
How was the before all these strats came out? Who was fighting Nikto back in the day? How hard it was?
I mean, apart from the screaming, it was more or less the same fight. At least when I started Hitless, the double ring setup was already a thing.
Okay.
So it was not that much of a different fight, other than that you had to roll the scream. Like I rolled the scream attacks.
And
And that was obviously
really hard
difficult.
for sure. Rolling the scream, I think I have never seen it actually. Now that you mention it, I will need to look for it.
Yeah, in some of my no hit runs, I for sure roll the scream attacks, and some of the older ones.
It looks hard because I don't think I have ever done it.
Yeah, I mean you get used to the timing, of course, and you will get better at it. But it's just sometimes you don't see him, right? Like
Yeah.
when he's like around the corner or whatever and pushes you away with that explosion or what, and then he screams immediately, and then you can really see him, and then you have to know the timing, and it's oh my god,
Oh
dude, that
god.
ONS fight is insane.
I told you. It was quite a fight for sure. I hate when Orsten is behind Mog and you
Yeah,
cannot
I
see
hate
what
it.
he's doing. He's just
Yeah,
standing
it's
there
terrible.
meaninglessly.
Yeah, this is so chaotic, holy moly. But he gets it done. So all cool.
Yeah, also it's
See,
not.
now he's like in that corner here. I would never ever go in that corner.
Oh,
That's so insane.
I have been so many times in that corner. You know, it's horrible.
Yeah. When they are like around you and you're in that corner, that's
You can only do a scream and pray to God.
yeah.
all, all the gods that you know and ever to know. So I know that Antimion, I think he was practicing another way to fight Orsen. I don't know if he did it on this. No, I think he went for a more comfy approach because he was fighting like rolling into him, like trying to roll all the attacks. I found
Into
yeah,
snow or what?
yeah, like rolling the slams and the diagonal attacks, like the horizontal, I mean, and like
Yeah.
rolling them and trying to always stagger him. But no, it seems like on this round, like he went for like the more comfy approach of just like on any percent.
Yep.
Small can be really easy once you know that you can strafe mostly all the attacks. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Small is very doable. Yeah.
Yeah, there is people like Sebas. It's just that when you talk about this one, we have to talk about Sebas. He's just insane on this game,
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
and he
He's a freak of
made
nature.
yeah. I remember when Hob and I think it was Enron were doing the commentary for one of the event of Team Heedless.
That's what I was doing it with Hop together.
Oh yeah, it was you. So Sebas did these crazy strats, and I think the Hoff asked him, Sebas, if I tried your strap, could I do them? And he said something, for you, nah, you couldn't. And then everyone was laughing so much. It was so fun. It's just that he's insane. Like the way that he fight Orson Smog is such beautiful. Like he made them perma stagger basically. It's so cool.
Yeah. It just runs around and like he knows exactly what to do, what not to do. Yeah, those are just the different levels of knowing a game, right?
Yeah, like how much do you know your name and what you're doing? Because you could know the game, but if you don't have the confidence to do these strats, you could fail at the end.
Yeah.
I feel that one of the biggest fear that a lot of people have when running DS1 is strafing or thing smog. I feel that's one of the biggest
Strafing on
fear.
these older games is
It's hard.
always, I don't know, yeah, it's sometimes you just don't trust the hitboxes, I guess.
No, yeah. That's for sure. I don't. I have dealt with the ghost hitbox from smog several times. Like I don't want to run this one again. That was painful. I got a PV1 to that. It was sad. Like you know when smog, if he's doing an attack and
Yeah, or you mean on first phase and
On
then
first
second phase?
Yeah.
There's the ghost hitbox and you just run into it and die.
yeah, I got a PV1 to that. Horrible. It's totally horrible. Now the catacombs are really that different on SL1, right?
No, not that much. Actually, they're basically the same. You can just kill that one skeleton through the wall, and then after you can lure the others off and use the firebombs to kill the pyromancer or necromancer,
And just
basically the
keep
same.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope Pinwheel can be really tricky though on SL1.
If you don't get the roll, yeah, that's true. Then it can be tricky. That's true.
Is that feeling? I hate that the hardfall is so critical in this one. You have it on the fast Artisar, and you have it here. Like getting that hardfall before Pinwheel is so painful. It's so painful.
And you have to go into the fight, and like what I like to, if I get the hardfall, I don't hit Pinwheel at all and wait what he does.
Okay.
And after clone phase, I kill him.
Okay, that's actually interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I just don't trust. I just don't trust it.
No.
And I just played slow, you know.
Yeah, I found it way better playing slow and calmly than just going fast for it, because that hardfall can be critical in several situations. He can be really, really critical for sure. No, I think that here he just make them fall normally without problem. This area is pretty much the same, to be honest. I think SL1, beside 2 or 3 section on DS1, is pretty much the same run, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's
pretty similar to the level 1.
Yeah, I think that the biggest changes are in DS3 SL1 and obviously DS2 are those like big changes for sure.
Yeah, especially on the boss fights. Yeah, with the Dragon Slayer and Cinder is much harder, and there are some tough boss fights.
Now that we're talking about Dark Souls 3, how exactly is Aldrich on SL1? Now that I think about it, because I know that you have like to do this setup, like do 1800 damage, and then you skip second phase. How do you do it on SL1?
You do it the same way basically. It's just that you have to be you have to hit his head once.
Okay.
You have to wait for one particular attack, that like long slide.
Yep.
And then you have to hit his head once or twice, and if you like hit the head and critical hit him, then you will kill him.
Oh, I see.
It's precise, but worst thing that could happen is that you end up on phase 2 and then you hit him once or twice on phase 2 and then he's dead as well. But you have to obviously get like one of these double swings or whatever other attack
that has a long recovery. Yeah, because he's so fast. It can be really tricky. And also the AoE that he does on the feint transition. Oh, he got the hardfall here.
No, he goes for it regardless. And that's
he got lucky for sure. One of those times like you get so many copies that keep throwing you fireballs at you is horrible.
Yeah, that basically is the third phase. When Pinwheel is like super low on health, then there will be more copies.
Yeah, we sometimes we forget that Pinwheel has like phase 2 and phase 3, you know? Sometimes we forget that. It's supposed to be a joke boss, but on low damage is tricky as hell, man. It's really, really, really tricky. Okay, let's advance a bit. I would like to watch Nito, like we were saying. I think that Nito is pretty much the same, like would you say?
Yeah, it's very much the same. Yeah. There's no difference.
Yeah,
Just a
that
double ring setup and
yeah, and just blocking the screen. Like blocking the screen is so nice for sure.
oh,
I find a lot of people don't really like learning the like they just prefer to roll all the attacks on Nito just in case.
yeah, I mean you can you just for extra safety you can roll it. I mean you lose a little bit of stamina and then you might like miss out on a hit or whatever. But overall it might it's
It
like
might be it better. It's just that
yeah.
it helps
If
a
you feel
lot.
better doing it, then
Yeah, I feel that this thing for Heedless, I feel that if you feel comfy with a strat, you should keep doing it, you know?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that's if it works,
works
it
for
works,
you,
you know? Yeah, exactly. It's not like, oh yeah, this strat is so slow or I should do a faster. No, if it works for you, keep going, keep doing it. I'm not going to be a defender of those things, to be honest.
Yeah.
Also the situation like Novi like always try to learn new strats. That's always nice because sometimes we we don't use like really nice strat to make the fight easier because we are scared of learning new things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It can happen a lot, and more when you are really used to a run. Were any situation that you had to change strats during marathon runs?
I mean, now for the SL1, yeah, I changed a lot of the older SL1 strats I used like years ago. Just to make it a little bit easier and a little bit more consistent here and there. On the phalanx on Demon Souls, for example, I use a different like angle and setup now to throw my fire bombs on some other like obviously the pyromancy stuff for Gwyn on DS1. Then yeah, there are some other examples I can't just think of right now, but
Yeah.
I definitely changed over time. Yeah, I usually if something works and it works consistently, I don't change it.
Yeah, it's prefer to just if it works, you know?
Yeah.
Now, how was doing now that you just put it? How was doing Bet of Chaos in the early days? How people find out about this strat?
Mm, I don't know. When I learned my first DS1 hitless run, I was watching Hops run, and I have no idea how he found
Oh,
that strategy, but I can tell you that it took me a long time to understand what I was seeing there on Hop's stream. Uh, After like you throw these two fire bombs and it goes into that either it does the pillar or it does like these or either it does this like fire wave or the fire pillars. And I don't know, like Hop was looking up into the air and at this like fire bit of the bed of chaos.
mm-hmm.
And I had no fucking clue what he was seeing there, and I couldn't like figure out how he could see that these fire pillars are next or whatever. And it took me like I don't know. I think it took me like an entire day of practicing or watching it before I understood how this works.
Like it can be really weird to like if you don't have someone explaining the strat to
Yeah,
you.
it's like there were no guides, right? There was
Oh
just like
yeah,
run from Hop, and I didn't know
yeah. Just
like
just
what I
repeat
was
whatever
watching.
he's doing.
Yeah.
It can be really really tricky for sure. Now let's see. I would like to see his Gwyn, and we can move on to the other run that we have, like the last one. We don't, and the other run that I bring is a really, it's also an ASL1. It's an AP1 from Sekiro, but it's some from a runner that we were talking earlier, and it's known for doing crazy debuff. Yeah, from Mr. Croa, his last run. And let's have it around here. Leave me a second. He did Sekiro AP1, no Kuro Charm,
Oh
Demon
yeah,
Bell,
yeah, yeah. Like
Demon.
yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. Sword
that's insane.
only with no skill.
Uh-huh.
It was crazy. Have you done Immortal Severance actually, Nico?
I have not, no. All I have done is on Sekiro is
Ishura.
Shura and AP1 Shura.
Have you think about doing Immortal Severance
Uh,
like just
I think I
for
would,
the low?
yeah, I think I would do that. That would be kind of nice to do, yeah, for sure.
Like when you think about it, there are not that much bosses after because you can script through monk and dragon is pretty much free. Your owl is also has a really nice cheese. Learning the cheese is kinda tricky though. I got a decent PV to the cheese because it's tricky, but it's not
Mhm.
the like oh super difficult. Don't do this. And then you have Genichiro and Saints or Ishin, and Genichiro can be cheats also. It's really nice to be honest.
Yeah, and Ishin is pretty hard,
It's
I'd say.
hard. If very much you could say that it's all the run, you know. It is
Yeah.
hard by like three HP bar, three things, three different moveset, so many things to do to be honest
Mm.
in that fight. What would you say that is the hardest boss in when running Sekiro?
For me on Shura, uh, I think the Emma Ishin combination obviously is number one, and the um the, the centipede like is the second hardest one for me at least. I don't know. It's just a very short fight, but
It can be
for me
tricky for sure.
personally, yeah, it's tough to nail all these parries in that
What?
small room, and then the second phase as well. It's kind of I don't know. It's a tough
Yeah,
one.
it's more difficult on SL1 for like AP1 because
Mm-hmm.
you don't really do posture damage, so you can the fights take more time for sure. So it's way more tricky.
Yeah.
What about Gyobu though? How difficult is Gyobu for you?
Like I have a pretty good strat for Gyobu, where it's just like I don't even engage into parrying him. I just like run away and go in after certain tags, and then it, it's like much easier.
Okay.
It takes a little longer, but it's much easier.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of people like doing the Notiflex strat.
Mm-hmm.
It really comfy. I remember that a lot of people have been doing it for a long time. It's just that Gyobu can be really tricky for sure.
Yeah, it's true.
I remember it took me several hours because my first round of Sekiro was the no prosthetic, so it was really tricky for sure. It was really
Yeah,
tricky.
yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I've never done any other like run than like obviously my normal playthrough and stuff like that, but uh, I feel like the difference between leveled and AP1 is pretty like it's much more difficult than the difference between SL1 on other games and the leveled runs, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I mean mostly the fights are longer. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but here on Sekiro, the longer a fight is, the more mentally exhausting it becomes. Like
Yeah,
doing Emma Ishin for 20 minutes is not the same as doing it in like 5 minutes.
yeah.
It became way better because there's more room for mistakes or for them doing weird things in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to run soon, oh god, that was scary. If you were to run Immortal Severance,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think is going to take you beside Ishin, of course? Would you what would you take time and would you add a debuff beside AP1 at some point, like no prosthetic or no skills?
I think no, like obviously not for hitless. I think I wouldn't know. I think I would like go for Immortal Severance, like normal. Maybe try it on AP1, but not more than that. That's enough. Like I like Sekiro, but it's not a game I really want to
To
dive
add
all the
debuff.
way in. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that the debuff in this game I really like just not using Mikiri, for example. It feels
Mm.
wrong. For ex, it feels
Yeah.
really, really wrong.
You have to play it completely different, right?
Yeah, so there are some like it's surprising that you can even parry the attacks that are supposed to be uh that you should use Mikiri, but
Yeah.
then somehow it changed all the five because they do different follow ups and all of that. It's really weird for sure. It's really really weird.
Yeah.
Like for example, here on Ishin, instead of just parrying the Mikiri, you just dodge it away like it was
Mm.
Genichiro, like the first Genichiro.
Yeah.
Did you have a hard time learning tutorial Genichiro?
Yeah, I had a hard time learning all of that. I think that was by far the hardest game to learn for me.
Yeah. Do you do the door cheese on Genichiro too or not?
So no, I don't. I
The,
just fight him.
yeah. There's any why like in you're running marathons? Any reason why don't you do it?
No, I just like learned how to fight him, and I feel relatively confident on like I rarely get hit on Genichiro, rooftop Genichiro. The usual hits for me on Sekiro are either it's giraffe, centipede giraffe,
Yeah.
or it's Emma Ishin.
Yeah, makes sense. Like if you like I say, if you really feel comfy with a strat, it's better to just keep doing it that way. To be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
But those are the hardest. Like Centipede, like just learning those weird timing parries can be really really tricky for sure.
yeah.
It's something that at least I haven't been thinking about running AP1 because of that boss. To be honest, that one and
Yeah,
how
it
is she?
takes like you have to fight it for so long.
Yeah, how is she called? The one that is before the fake monk. I really forgot the name. Snake Eyes.
Oh,
Yeah, sparring the snake eyes can be. I did it on the no prosthetic, but goddamn, I don't want to do it again. It can be tricky for sure.
yeah. Snake Eyes is annoying.
It's
For
really, really
sure.
annoying. Also, another fight that I think that here can be hard, at least on sword only, but that you can only use the sword is a ape. Ape can be so hard on for the phase one. There is
Yeah, I mean you have to like loop him on phase one, right?
yeah, you have like to loop him, but since you cannot do the mortal draw, you have to put in the loop in a different way, and it becomes
Mm.
way harder to do that loop.
Oh, okay, yeah. You mean like without like skills and shit? Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, then you have to loop him differently.
It becomes way more difficulty. I know that I think I was during this run too. I remember something happened at the end that it was super close. Like you can see that the posture bar on this run is literally just 1 pixel each stab. Basically, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
true. Yeah, it takes so long for him to kill these bosses.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was Shilky. Shilky did a run that was like that. It's not
Mm.
exactly this one, but I remember he was doing like a combination of no deflex, so he could hit the body, because I mean if you hit the body it just stray more damage instead
Mm.
of just parrying. But I really like the parry loop, because if you ensure everything's going to be all right. But also, like, usually you should come with the feather here, like the one that you use it and you parry the
Yeah,
lining.
yeah,
It can be also tricky. I remember
yeah.
I got hit once by that, not on the hitless run, on the live run, but I was so confused. It took me a lot of time to actually learn how to dodge that lighting.
You have to be a real master in Sekiro to manage like a run like this.
It can be super difficulty.
Yep.
There are not many people that thought like with the buff like this, to be honest. I wonder what will be like Master Run on Sekiro, like a lot of people is running Master Run lately, for sure.
Mm. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe doing this, but just like NG plus 7 maybe. Oh, but that would be insane. That would be you
Yeah,
would
that would
like
be so
fight a
much
boss for
HP.
half. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been thinking of doing Master Run any day?
No, not really. No, I don't want my boss fights to be too long on my stream at the moment, at least, because I sometimes you just have to be very focused, and if you fight a boss for that long, it's really hard for me to engage with my chat, you know. And
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I see. Like
then
it's already hard to engage on when while doing SL1, because you have to
yeah,
be so focused on some boss fight for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. SL1 is like a little bit of a limit for me when it comes down to boss fight difficulty or boss fight length sometimes. Because I like to, have like these parts in between where I can just focus on like the people who are in chat, and I can just like, yeah,
Yeah, I feel that
it's
the moment that people like you that have really big community having to conceive the like having a good entertaining stream, but also being focused on the run can be really hard for sure. And it's really nice to see that.
yeah, you have to find a balance. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, finding that balance is super super hard for sure.
Hmm.
I don't know how you guys do it, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess you just grow into this, right, over time, and I mean, it's some like a stream grows over time, and then you grow with this stream, and you change like the way you behave and the things you do, and you figure out what's better and what's worse for your particular stream and the way you do things. And I guess that's how it works. It's not like that you uh just decided from one day to another. You like grow into that, I guess.
Yeah, it's something that you just need to get used to it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something that it can be really tricky for sure. I guess that if you have to give one recommendation for those things, like how to get more used to like talking with chat while running, what would you say?
Um, I mean, it depends. If it's a new run, it's tough because you have to like be focused on the run a lot, and you have to like learn things yourself, and then like balancing it out. What my like even if it's a new run, what my recommendation would be, or a little tip, or what I like to do, is just if there's a lot going on, or if there are people there, play it very slow. You don't have to rush anything. Just like take your time, like stall a little here and there, and just like talk, and talk to the people, and try to make make it like, yeah, make it nice for them, and try to, you know entertain, and get like a little bit of a good, I don't know, back and forth going, and then you can like slowly get into the run again.
Yeah, I think I see the point that you
I
want
think a
that
lot of people just want to like rush through the game and get it done as quickly as possible, and I get that as well. A lot of people want to play it fast. That's understandable, but you have to find a balance a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, I prefer to find like a good balance, and
Mhm.
then you just play with that in a way.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty much the two runs that I bring for these two runners,
Yeah. Thank you
and
so much.
we finish. Nico, once again, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate a lot.
Thank
It,
you for having me.
it was really really nice
Yeah. It was
hearing
a good talk.
and hearing your perspective from Hitless. It's really nice.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me, and yeah. Thanks for the questions from chat as well, of course. Thanks a lot.
It really is nice. I hope that soon you can get the God Run 3 SL1. I mean, you are on a really good pace. Obviously, without killing your mental for sure.
Yeah, I'm taking it slow this time. I don't want to overdo it. I take breaks, and if it takes like another month, it takes another month, and if it's like three more, it's three more. I don't mind. It's all good.
Yeah, I think that's the mentality. It's going to happen when it has to happen for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Nico. Thank you so much once again, and
Thank you.
hope to see you in your stream soon, man. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that was Mr. Dino Sangel, Mr. Nico. Hey, what do you have this here? Oh my god. Different source, I'm sorry. Let me do a shout out for Mr. Nico, but everyone knows him already. It was really nice. I think that Nico has a really wonderful, really nice perspective on what is Hitless. for being one of the veterans in a way. Like I said, one of the veterans in Noki, so it's really nice. The perspective that he has, how the mental state, how to overcome frustration, and how to keep grinding, how to keep going. Because I don't think that he's going to stop anytime soon. He's going to go for harder runs every day, each day, each time that he get a run. But yeah, guys, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for the interview for the podcast. We still don't have a new guest for the next session. I'm still seeing who could join us, but it was really fun. I hope everyone has a really good time. It was really fun. I'm always nice talking about the run from the communities, the what they do in all of these things. It's really nice. I hope you enjoying this time we have here. Let's go, if we can go on a raid. Let's see. We have here Bree. Let's go. I think it's been a while since I raid Bree, so let's raid her. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for, once again, Nico, for coming, for the community of Nico for stopping by. I appreciate a lot. Everyone that stopped by, say a question. Thank you so much for being here. And hope to see you all in a next edition of what will be Hitless Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Bye, guys. Bye.